Welcome to a brand new episode of the Square Circle Podcast. I am your host, Marie Shadows, and on this episode, a very special Twitter Spaces episode, we're going over night 2 of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Best of the Super Junior 30. This tournament is going to be running all month long. It started yesterday on May 12th, and it's going to end around May 28th-ish. That's when the finals are going to be held. Why they're squishing it in 1 month, I have no idea. But we're going to try every single day to have a Twitter space to talk about and recap Best of the Super Juniors because I am challenging myself. One thing I have tweeted out, if you guys don't follow me already on Twitter, you probably should, where I have a lot of wrestling stuff. But yeah, friendly, encouragement, you should follow me. I did tweet out saying that I need to challenge myself more, and I guess this is one of the ways that I'm doing it. Normally, I will be streaming this on kick.com/Marie Shadows to talk about professional wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling and basically dive into the passion that I have for wrestling. But I miss talking to all of you guys. I miss doing a Twitter Spaces where I get to talk with friends that have we have become friends through Twitter Spaces back in the day in a year that we don't really talk about because 2020 sometimes doesn't exist, but it exists. But you get the idea, right? So that's like a long intro. So this is a wonderful Twitter Space exclusive episode of the Square Circle Podcast recapping Best of the Super Juniors. Like I said, this is night 2. So this is May 13, 2023. They were at Nagano Prefecture Budokan, and I can tell you right now that crowd was not as hype as Kurikan Hall. There's just a difference between the crowds that New Japan goes to around Japan, and sometimes this is what fans out there don't understand when it comes to Japanese wrestling because they don't take the time to actually sit down, learn, and understand that with each place that New Japan travels to, there are different crowds. Different crowds do different reactions to the wrestlers to what they see. However, even though the fans at Nagano were not as very loud as Kurikan Hall, when you're at Kurikan Hall, you feel like a rock star. But when you're over at Nagano, it's still a professional level of reacting to the wrestlers. I will say that when House of Torture is around, the fans do give an earful to House of Torture whenever they're around. And when I say an earful, I mean like booing them. Like really, you can hear their disdain for all of the acts that House of Torture does, that people are so tired of and just really don't want to deal with House of Torture. I was explaining this yesterday on the first time that I am talking about Best of the Super Juniors, that House of Torture is a household name. They're really good as a team. They have a really great establishment, and everyone in that team are very great on their own. Individually, they're great. Bringing them all together and doing all the shenanigans is what people tend to get upset about and what people get frustrated about. And I understand like the concerns of like what House of Torture does. And to me, when you're like really overwhelmed and overexposed about like House of Torture antics, you sort of get like, all right, that's enough House of Torture. Like I would need to see them every time. But you know, because they still get a reaction either way, and because they still sell merchandise and people cosplay as House of Torture um, individuals, and they support, show mainly, and they support evil too. But they're over. I would like House of Torture to have a redirection and a fresh new sort of identity. They could still do like their cheating stuff, but at the end of the day, they have like really great athletes and wrestlers that can tell really good stories. So, as I say all this, I'm trying to paint the picture of that every single place that New Japan goes to have these shows, the crowd is different in each and every one of them. No crowd is alike, I can tell you that. Kirk Hall makes you feel like a rock star, like I said. And in Nagano, there is a professionalism to the reaction, and then other places is just completely silent with just clapping even though all of Japan has, lifted all the restrictions that they have previously put in place. But yeah, fans are completely different on like depending on where you go. So again, the rules for Best of the Super Juniors goes as follow. This is a tournament style, a single matches from Block A and Block B. Because it's just Best of the Super Juniors, there are no extra matches there, no different matches. So you're not gonna see like Naito versus like somebody else. You're gonna see like all Super Junior stuff. So the rules goes as follows: if somebody can get a pinfall or a submission, they are awarded 2 points. If someone gets a countout, they are awarded 1 point. And if it goes to a DQ or a no contest, they get 0 points. For night 2, nothing shocking happened. So it's not like night 1 where I had to start from the end and work my way all the way to the beginning of the show, because night 1, a quick, surprising, well, shocker, not really surprising, recap of night 1, just the shocking part of Mike Bailey defeating Hiromu in the main event of the opening night. That was a shocker. So that's why I started from the main event going all the way to the beginning of the show. Night 2 wasn't so much shocking, but there were some surprises, some really, nice surprises. So we'll go with this is a surprise sort of show, and um, matchups and winners and losers. Just should throw that in there because that's what my brain, thought about. So I will be going from the beginning of the show all the way to the end of the show. All right, we start off with A block. We have TJP versus Kushida. This was a really good match. TJP is really good, Kushida is really good, and like I said in the previous Twitter space, that WWE didn't know what to do with Kushida. Kushida has like a whole new confidence, and he commands the ring very, very well. He really does. He uses a lot of his judo moves, a lot of his mat wrestling skills, and TJP can just match all of that with like the best of them. And by the way, I consider TJP to be the ancient wrestler of professional wrestling. Like, he's ancient. He's been through so many different generations that it's like, sir, you might have found a fountain of youth. Like, one doesn't age, two always gets better, and definitely has a good mind when it comes to breaking down matches, talking about matches. Because after this match, later on in the show, he was a guest commentator along with Kevin Kelly, and I'm just gonna sing praises about TJP a little bit later because of his commentary skills. Like, really nice. So, like I said, a lot of chain wrestling, technical issues. Issues? Sorry, I am reading from my notes. Technical genius. That's what I wrote. I wrote technical genius rather than technical issues. Yes, I need TJP and Kushida to help me with some technical issues. No, they are both technical geniuses when it comes to their opening match. It was definitely a defensive stalemate between the two, because no matter what anyone did, they had an answer and a counter for something, and they couldn't quite get, a weakness going, or find an inside to try to one up the other wrestler. When in doubt, TJP does go back to his leg and shoulder like pop sort of move that he does, where he just snaps on the arm sometimes, or like snap on like the leg as his knee is right in the small of your back. So, when in doubt, TJP does some snapping of the limbs. And, TJP was definitely going for Kushida's legs. And then after TJP decides to like snap the limbs of Kushida, he puts in his Muda lock. However, Kushida manages to get a rope break, and, while Kushida is using the ropes, Kushida puts on his own submission on the TJP. TJP does an amazing. Oh no, I was getting too far ahead. Uh I was gonna say that submission on the ropes that Kushida had TJP on was my mistake. My notes are so messy. Um Kushida has TJP in a Cobra Twist. Guys, I swear I am a professional. I know what I'm doing. I swear I am. There is a hip toss, cartwheel, and drop kick to TJP that Kushida does. Most of the time when wrestlers do combinations, I really do enjoy when wrestlers do combinations and they're known for it. What I also like is innovative stuff. So there is a hammerlock cradle pin. That thing looks amazing. And I like little details. I really do. Luckily, TJP kicked out. After switching between the two for like multiple submissions to see who can submit who, TJP finally got Kushida into an inside package pin and sealed the deal to get 2 points in this match. So TJP wins against Kushida because, like I keep saying on all of my podcast episodes, that roll-ups, any combination or type of pinfalls, and the drop toe hold are your best friends in professional wrestling because nobody will see it coming. Nobody at all. It sometimes throws. Block B had Dan Maloney versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Now, if you guys are wondering why sometimes I only stick to a particular name when given, like when talking about Japanese wrestlers, it's because my pronunciation for Japanese names are not the best. So if I know that I can correctly say one part of the name, like either maybe the first or the last name, I usually stick with that. That's why I usually say like Okada and not his full name because my brain is just like doesn't understand how to pronounce it. If anybody was just wondering like why I stick to certain um either first or last names for Japanese wrestlers. I'm learning, but my brain is like it doesn't sound right. I don't know what to do. My brain just hesitates. And it's the same way of like me talking in Spanish or, trying to relearn Italian and stuff. So it just happens. So I noticed that like whenever New Japan puts somebody new with Yoshinobu, it feels like he is the OG veteran teacher of New Japan Pro Wrestling and wrestlers. Like an indirect teacher. Like you could feel that this guy will teach you all that you need to know in a single match with him. And that's what I think happens with like Dan Maloney wrestling Yoshinobu and last year's Best of the Super Junior when Alex Zane fought Yoshinobu as well. There's that like awkwardness to it. This match of Dan Maloney versus Yoshinobu was not awkward at all. It was more like very slow and it felt like Yoshinobu teaching Dan not how to be a wrestler or anything like that, but just to teach him like slow it down maybe a little bit, or like maybe we'll do some chops. But if you're gonna do chops, Yoshinobu's gonna take out the leg because for some reason Yoshinobu has been attacking the legs of wrestlers, which is not some reason. It's because he's gonna set up for the figure four leg lock, which he did do for Dan Maloney during this match. That he set up the figure four leg lock after attacking the knee over and over again. So in this match, we do start out with like a test of strength, some shoulder blocks, some chops, a very nice snap suplex that Dan Maloney had like a wide base for. It looked kind of weird, but at the same time, he wanted to make sure that he can get Yoshinobu, all the way through for that snap suplex. Goes for a pin. Yoshinobu kicks out. Yoshinobu is a little bit more resilient than that. We had a sunset flip attempt, but Dan does a double stomp to Yoshinobu, tries to go for a pin. Yoshinobu was like, nah, man, we're not going to do that right now. And once Yoshinobu gets that momentum going of attacking a wrestler's knee, you have to play it smart at this point. Of course, trying to get away from Yoshinobu while you're like on one leg is not ideal. But in order to counter that, so that way, you could give your knee some time to rest, you're going to have to work on some ground game. And this isn't like a knock to Dan, because Dan is very, very heavy handed. He has a lot of strength. He has a lot of good qualities. This is the second match, and I'm still interested in his story. I'm still interested in his background because, again, I'm waiting for Tuesday to come around so that way on Tuesday we could do Tape Study Tuesday and we could watch his matches. So for anybody that tunes in later to hear this, please drop me some suggestions for Dan Maloney matches so I can get a better idea at like what he does. And again, just a quick reminder that Dan Maloney dropped weight to be in the best of the Super Juniors. So he's 195 pounds and he still moves like a heavyweight. I don't think he cut that much down, but the way he moves and presents himself is definitely a heavyweight that can also match a junior weight, which is kind of scary in a way to think about. So, like I said, the way that this match ends up, because again, if you attack the knee, you attack a body part, work a whole kid, you end up getting the victory because Yoshinobu worked so much on Dan's knee. He puts on the figure four, and Dan basically taps out. This gives Yoshinobu his 2 points in Best of the Super Juniors. Now we go to Block A. Block A had Leo Rush versus Taguchi. Taguchi is being serious in Best of the Super Juniors. He is not being comedic, ladies and gentlemen. So this is a breath of fresh air, and I really do enjoy Taguchi now being a serious wrestler, and to take on the likes of Leo Rush was a very good fun match. Leo Rush is way too fast. He might be the fastest wrestler in professional wrestling, and Taguchi didn't know what to do with it, but Taguchi could always rely on his hip attack. So he basically had to hip attack Leo so that way Leo could slow the fuck down and Taguchi could get some type of offense in. This match was really good back and forth with counters and quick counters as well. I'm trying to think of like another way to describe it other than like just counters. Basically, it felt like even though this might have been the first time that they wrestled, they understand the name of the game and they both knew what to expect. Leo Rush did say in his backstage comments that, he wants to face the Taguchi that he grew up seeing. So obviously Leo Rush studied Taguchi, and then Taguchi is such a veteran that like he can really match the wrestlers that go, and fight with him in the ring. Towards the end, it gets a little, why is my brain thinking the word spicy? That's not what I wanted to say, but like it gets really good towards the end of having, Taguchi dodging a hip attack on Leo, and then Leo coming in with his own hip attack, and then having like an inside cradle. One of them was getting the 1-2-3, and then Leo coming in with his stunner that he does from the bottom rope. And then we have the final hour splash that Leo Rush does to Taguchi. And Taguchi, unfortunately, loses this match. And Leo Rush gets 2 points for himself in Block A for this match. Now we move on to Block B. Clark Connors versus Robbie Eagles. I gave a lot of praise to Clark Connors in the first recorded sessions of talking about Best of the Super Juniors, the opening night on May 12th. And then I also gave some praise to Robbie Eagles and told you guys that Robbie Eagles is not playing around this time ever since joining TMDK. I should say it like that. Ever since joining TMDK, he's not playing around. The other times that I got to watch Robbie Eagles, he never really plays around. He's a very good wrestler. He's a very good expert at what he does. He's a very good expert at what he does. Well, yeah. He's an expert. He's very good at what he does. He's an expert at what he does. And this match is where we get like a different Robbie Eagles and Clark Connors being just a little too cocky. So Robbie Eagles starts off with his rally chant of the Robbie, oi, rally chant, right? However, the second rally chant, he ends up doing a dropkick to Clark, and that just starts Robbie's momentum, his advantage in this match, which is, you hit hard and go quick and make sure that you take your opponent off their game, because sometimes they have a game plan and they stick to it, but for most of the time, they basically might have to change up if you're the first person to attack, right? So we get a lot of like kicks and chops from Robbie, and Robbie was super quick to do the Ron Miller special on Clark Connors. Very quick. Like the bell rang, we had the rally cry, and then all of a sudden Robbie attacks, and then bam, Ron Miller special. Clark Connors managed to get to the ropes because he is not going to tap out like less than a minute in the match. Like, nah, that's not going to be very good. I don't think David Finlay would approve. So after Clark gets to the ropes for a rope break, Clark manages to block Robbie's other attack, give him a lariat, and then a very beautiful deadlift German. Robbie rolls to the outside because every wrestler knows that if you roll to the outside, you create some space. Hopefully, your opponent does not follow you, but that does not carry on here to where Clark follows Robbie to the outside and uses the outside to his advantage. I had said yesterday on the other recording that Bullet Club is back. Bullet Club is using Bullet Club tactics. And if you guys are new to my phrase of Bullet Club tactics, it basically got coined when Jay White was still the leader. By the way, I don't even think Jay White is still the leader of Bullet Club. Like, we got to have a panel talk about this whole shit. Like, we really do. To, like, get down to, the truth about Bullet Club, because I have a lot of questions. Anyway, Bullet Club tactics refers to when Jay White will always say, "You'll breathe with the switchblade." And every time he fought an opponent, he will have them on the outside. The opponent will go after Jay White. That is what Jay White wants the opponent to do. And so when Jay White will throw his opponent back first into the apron or chest first into the guardrail, you're basically expelling a lot more air out of your body and out of your lungs. So therefore, you are breathing with him. He is controlling the match. He's controlling the pace of the match. You're basically working the match as he sees fit because he is in control at the moment. So he will use the outside to his advantage in order to get the Bullet Club tactics. So that is what, I coined Bullet Club tactics, thanks to Jay White, because he kept using the outside. And this is what Clark was doing in his match with Robbie, using the outside. Once Clark got to the outside, he basically suplexed Robbie onto the floor. And then I think he did it again. I'm trying to read through my notes here as I'm like telling you what happened. Clark does manage to get a full Nelson on Robbie Eagles. And then Robbie Eagles does a short snap suplex on Clark. It doesn't get like the full effect, but at least like it gives both of them some time to breathe and rethink. Robbie pulls out all the stops on Clark, but Clark is just like, nah, I'm kicking out of everything that you do. Clark comes in with 2 spears, and by the way, his spears are a little bit different. I believe that they look more like football spears, but they are a thing of beauty if you ever like get to see them. Now, this is where a surprise sort of happens because, like I mentioned, that like Clark was a little too cocky in this one. So Clark gets ready to do his finisher, which his finisher is named No Chaser. Which, by the way, I think that might be like a reference to like drinking and alcohol. Since it's like 100% proof, it has to be like in relation to that. But seriously, sometimes I don't know where people come up with their names for the finishers that like, I don't know. I guess the no finisher, I'm sorry, the no finisher, that's so wrong. If Clark ever listens to this, like, yeah, I didn't mean it that way. But you know, for to name a move the no chaser, like I think that would have to grow on me because that's not, I don't know, it doesn't roll off the tongue. Like here comes Clark doing, his finisher, no chaser. Like I have no idea. But then again, I'm not part of the culture that drinks and drinks. But then again, I could be wrong if that's like not part of that because his nickname is 100%, well, 100 proof, and 100 proof alcohol, that's not a very good thing. Even though an advertisement popped up yesterday that Jack Daniels now has 100 proof whiskey, and I was like, look, I know that ads track us, I know that cookies are everywhere in our technology and it's right at our fingertips, but that was like a coincidence to see that ad of 100 proof Jack Daniels whiskey, and then all of a sudden Clark Connors is like, yeah, my nickname is 100 proof, and I have a finisher called No Chaser. So, I don't know. Someone explain to me or let me know that if No Chaser is part of like an alcohol thing. Yeah. So, like I said, Clark is trying to do his finisher, No Chaser. I feel like there's a stupid joke written with this, but I don't know. Because my jokes are kind of weird. So like I don't know if there is a joke somewhere written in this. Anyway, so Robbie Eagles basically does this little small weak slap to Clark. That's meant to basically embarrass and somewhat enrage Clark, and that allow for Clark to misthink. I just made up that word. uh Basically he wasn't thinking what he did next. So Robbie Eagles took advantage of that, of Clark not thinking clearly, and got him in a very tight clutch pin to get a surprise victory. So Robbie Eagles got the victory over Clark Connors because he was, I was gonna say playing with him, but he really, I don't know. Clark took the bait once he slapped him. That's a better way of saying that. So Robbie Eagles gets 2 points in his Block B match with Clark Connors. Clark was a little too cocky. He thought he had this one in the bag, but no, that's not the case. Now we move on to Block A. Block A had Show from House of Torture versus Mike Bailey. This is a very interesting match. This is where, in the beginning, for part 1 of this recording session, I was really talking heavily about House of Torture and how the fans over here in Nagano were basically displeased that House of Torture was there. Every time House of Torture did something drastic, they would definitely voice their disapproval of Evil and Show, and I can definitely say that all of their antics did not work out. Okay, so all of their antics did not work out. However, it was a very nice match. It basically proved that Mike Bailey can definitely take care of himself on his own when it's 2 against 1. So this match starts off with, during Mike Bailey's entrance, Show decides to run up the aisle and attack him with a chair and use the chair to basically try to destroy Mike Bailey's foot. That is why wrestlers wear shoes and wrestling shoes, basically. That's why they wear some type of foot protection. So that way stuff like that won't happen. Now, I do understand why wrestlers would want to go barefoot. You get a better grip of the floor and the mat when you are barefooted. Sometimes it's a little too not difficult, but it might be annoying, but wrestlers are just used to it, to have wrestling boots is there to protect, your feet. But depending on who you're talking to, some wrestlers would be like, yeah, when I didn't wear any boots, they had a lot more grip. Sometimes when they do wear boots and like socks, it becomes like a whole nother challenge, but we're all used to wearing some form of uh foot foot protection, some type of like shoe. We're all used to wearing it. So yeah, like I said, Show decided to use the chair on Mike Bailey's foot. There is this fake out that Mike Bailey does and ends up kicking Show. There's a swing and a miss from Show, and then those rapid fire kicks that Bailey does. And then of course, Evil interference. Of course, Evil is always gonna come in and protect his boys. And like I said, the crowd was definitely, disdained for that. We get some chops by Bailey. Show goes back to that foot. The whole entire time, Show was working on the foot of Bailey, so that way he, his base for, kicking gets destroyed, and there's like no real strength behind anything. Bailey does a really good looking missile drop kick to Show, and then Bailey takes out Evil, which is surprising because most people have a hard time taking out Evil. And then not Show. Bailey goes for that second rope moonsault, which is amazing in itself. We get a really huge lariat by Show, an attempted pin, but Mike Bailey is like, no, we're not gonna have it end this way. Show ends up doing a cross-arm power driver to Bailey, but Bailey kicks out. Show uh Show again goes after Bailey's foot and then pushes Bailey into the referee. There's always a referee bump whenever there's House of Torture around. House of Torture and or Bullet Club, like, and other teams too. But mainly if you're House of Torture, you have to have a ref bump in, the match. I wonder if they signed their contract and it says in the fine print, you get X amount of ref bumps in your match. Like, I wonder if that's true. I just made that up, but that'd be funny if it's true that if they sign something and be like ref bump in your match if you are House of Torture and or Bullet Club. So as Show pushes Bailey into the referee, Show goes and gets the wrench like he always does, and basically uses it on Bailey's foot, and then Bailey managed to get Show into like this deep cradle pin. But Evil is like, oh, I'm 100% now, guys, and basically drags out the ref because why not? It's a House of Torture rules. They could do whatever the hell they want. So Show thinks that he has the advantage right now because Bailey is like, ow, my foot. But Bailey does the crane technique to Show. Show is like, what is this? He really looked like he really looked like a deer caught in the headlights. By just looking at him and being like, Bailey, what are you doing? Yo, what up, King Reezy? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Uh,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you, dude.
Oh, that's crazy. It still says listener on my side.
Oh, it might take a while, but it says speaker. I can hear you.
Oh, okay, that's good. I'm just listening. I just finished watching the Super Juniors.
Ah, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I'm up to, well, I'm about to end this one. Well, not no, not this page, but this match that I'm talking about before I go into the next one. But
Okay.
yeah. So so yeah, as I was saying that Mike Bailey does the crane technique. Show stood there like a deer in headlights, like, what is this? And then, he gets kicked. And then Bailey ends up going to the top rope, does the ultimate weapon, which is that, I guess, it's not really like a 450 knees like splash thing, but he comes down on his opponent, knees first, and then gets the 1, 2, 3 on Show, and Mike Bailey gets 2 points, which is a total of 4 right now, in like the leaderboard. If we want, yeah, it's the leaderboard. So it's a total of 4 points, and this is just him on his debut in New Japan. Well, debuted in New Japan, but like he's been in Japan before, but like debut wrestler. Um, did you, King Reezy? Did you happen to watch today's Best of Super
That's
Juniors?
what I was talking about.
Cool. Do you want to give any thoughts on Show and House of Torture and Bailey?
So Show lost, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
He didn't look so happy. I feel bad for Show a little bit. But I think he'll get better. I mean, keep him with Leo Rush. Those two are awesome together. I don't know if they're still tagging, but those two,
Oh, you mean Yo and
yeah,
Leo Rush
yeah,
tagging? We're talking about Show and House of
yeah.
Torture.
So Show and House of Torture. I didn't hold up. I caught House of Torture beating up Bailey.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're talking
Yeah,
about that. I'm
yeah.
asking for your thoughts.
I didn't
You
like
sort of
that. I
accidentally.
didn't like that. I'm not a ton
Oh,
House of Torture fan. I want to like House of Torture, but I didn't like how they beat up my guy Mike Bailey. I think this is gonna turn into something where Mike Bailey might join Chaos. He or somebody. I think he's going to find a group of people to join, and they're going to help him with House of Torture. Because I think House of Torture. I don't think that's the end of it.
I want to say that's true because, like, sometimes when House of Torture does these things where they're always like interfering in, like, whatever match they have, it does feel like it's supposed to set up for something bigger. And that's like, adding Mike Bailey to this conversation, but like other people that they've, always battled and shit. Like, let's see. Mike Bailey joining Chaos. That would be that'd be pretty interesting. It'd be interesting. Okada would be like, I don't know, man. I don't know what Okada would be like, but Okada would be like, sure, because Okada's supposed to be the leader of Chaos, but he doesn't
Yeah,
really
I mean,
lead.
Chaos doesn't like House of Torture, so
Nobody likes House of
yeah,
Torture
right. Nobody likes House of Torture,
except for Bullet Club, because Bullet Club has to deal with them, which is like, what?
which
Oh
is
my god.
strange. Yeah, I still think like we talked about, yesterday. It's still strange. I just feel like it's time for House of Torture to kind of be their own, to
Yeah,
separate from Bullet
man.
Club, and I feel it's coming. I do feel it's coming. I just don't know when because I've been saying this for over a year and it hasn't happened yet. But
I know.
I feel like either Bullet Club's gonna turn or House of Torture is gonna turn.
Yeah, man, I'm waiting for that day too.
Cause they be fighting sometimes, man. They don't get along. House,
They don't.
no, they don't get along. But House of Torture never really reps the Bullet Club. Sometimes they'll
Yeah,
throw up the Too Sweet, but they rarely do.
yeah, it's so weird, man. Like before I get into my next the next match for Block B, I do want to mention that some of the things that TJP was saying on commentary, cuz man, he was so good on commentary. Like I'm just like I love listening to this guy. He joked around saying to Kevin Kelly that, "Hey, do you think that Bullet Club has like an office where David Finley sits in the office and people wait to get like a performance review similar to how Beetlejuice has like, that office in the
Oh
movie?"
yeah, yeah, I
And
remember
I
that.
and I was like, yo, now that I'm thinking about it, because he mentioned it, I'm like, that's not far off, especially if Finley is like, yeah, this is my Bullet Club now. And, I only require savages and killers. Like, you can think that this dude, like, just reviews things in his head and be like, yeah, that guy got to go. you know? It's so fun. Some other things, too, that I said I was going to praise. Uh, TJ, TJ was like super supportive of Akira versus Kevin Knight, which is the next match in B block. And yo, the way that he supports Akira, I'm just like, yo, we all need that friend that kind of supports like somebody else, man. Like it was just so good to just hear him scream out like, "Yes, go for it, kid," or anything like that. Like that support is there. Yesterday I was talking about how when Akira was facing Master Wado, I was like, that match felt like he was trying to find himself, or trying to let people, or trying to remind people that he still got it. Because I do think that after losing a championship title, whatever championship title that might be, and I'm talking about this in general, that like there is like an emptiness in someone's heart, because it's like you work so long, you go through the story, you go through the journey, bam, you become champion, and then you hold it on for as long as you can until like somebody comes, and it may not be your day, and then like you end up losing it. There's that sense of like, oh shit, I no longer have championship gold. So that's what I felt like when he was facing Wado yesterday, to try to prove to people and prove to himself that like he still got it. Even though like he lost his match against Wado yesterday, but this one against Kevin Knight, it felt really good. It felt like an Akira match. It felt like Akira knew what he had to do. He pulled out some pretty cool moves, and Kevin was still giving it like his all. Like Kevin doesn't um change and stuff. Give me 1 second. All right. So, yeah, Kevin Knight was still doing his thing, and Kevin Knight was, matching Akira. So this match went like super quick in the beginning. Because Akira was like, I'm not gonna take any prisoners, like I'm not gonna wait. Does a quick drop kick to Kevin. Hurricanrana takes him on the outside, but Kevin is managed to like counter all of that, to do a plancha to Akira. We get like a chop exchange. Akira puts Kevin Knight in the trio woe, and does a sliding drop kick to Kevin, which looked pretty nice. Um, what is this? Oh, um, during commentary, we saw. Well, I can't say during commentary we saw. What I mean is that during commentary, Kevin Kelly was asking TJP about the submission that Akira was doing, because whenever they train, Akira always wants to learn something new. So to TJ's, I guess, best ability, or like my best ability, it was a very unique hammerlock half lotus submission that Akira put on Kevin Knight. And I was like, man, that thing, like it looks like it freaking hurts, like no matter what that someone does. Uh then we get like this big backbreaker to Akira by Kevin, a big splash, counters all the time, and Kevin does like this really good sky high sit out power bomb where I'm like, man, if anyone has a fear of heights or falling from like a good amount of feet, like that's not the move for you. At one point, Kevin does dodge fireball, which is Akira's running double knees, and the double knees like take you out from like the back of the head. There's a bunch of counter pins. There's more attempted pins until we get speed fire from Akira, which is this nice twisting sort of, not really like a DDT, but it's like one of those type of moves. And then a very, very, very deep cover from Akira. And then you can hear TJP like singing his praises of his buddy. And Akira has definitely grown. And I will always put over like the United Empire boys, and I'll put over Kevin Knight because Kevin Knight, man, like I said before, he has everything. He's still
Oh, he's
young.
good.
Yeah, he's still young, and you can see him get better, each time that he's on like New Japan programming, whether that is, on Strong or here in Best of Super Juniors, and here as a one half of the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championship holders. Give me 1 second again. Okay. Uh, what did you think about that match?
Oh, I loved it. I liked it. Well, I was enjoying Super Juniors from beginning to end. I think TJP tore it up. I think like Bailey
Yeah.
tore it up. But yeah, but that match in particular right there, I really liked. Um, yeah, I don't know what to say about it, but I really liked it. I enjoyed it.
All right. Oh yeah, and that one gives Akira 2 points. If I did not say that already. Um.
Oh, Akira has 2 points.
Yeah. I'll go over the leaderboards after I'm done for
Okay, awesome, awesome.
1 and 2, but because Akira got the pin on Kevin Knight for this match, that gives him 2 points. Um. Next one is a, I don't know, man. This match was just very slow. So it is Block A, Taiji Ishimori versus Teton. So you have a very fast luchador wrestler representing CMLL in Teton, and then you have Taiji Ishimori, where he's Bullet Club's like muscle guy, even though he wrestles as a super junior, which is kind of weird. Even like TJP was explaining on commentary about first meeting Taiji, and then explaining his growth and muscle and stuff like that. And I was just like, that's pretty funny. How he like just remembers him from like back in the day, and then all of a sudden, because all he does is eat chicken and work out. This is the Ishimori that we have, which I was like, what? um, so Teton tries to do very like quick lucha stuff. There's a lot of dodging because Taiji could probably see this coming a mile away. So like they're in this defensive sort of state of who could one up who. Ishimori is like very smart to be like, all right, man, all right, I'm at the ropes, like, you got it, right? Um, so Taiji does some suicide dives. Oh no, he doesn't do suicide dives. My notes, my handwriting is so horrible. I have that once Taiji goes to the outside and like Teton follows him to the outside and basically does like a lot of showboating and stuff like that really hinders Teton for Taiji to pick him up and like throw him as a dart into the damn ring post. Now, as you guys know, New Japan Pro Wrestling does not invest in anything that's cushiony. So his shoulder ended up hitting the ring post, Teton's shoulder, and it just started, from there. What I do like about this match is TJ yelling from commentary to the referee of like, You didn't see that Taiji took out the turnbuckle, like just yelling at the referee. Like, did you not see that? Um, so once that happens, Taiji is sort of like almost in full control of this match. The pace really went down, like super down. I think that's why I didn't, like this one, like not much. We get a hammerlock into the ring post again, shoulder first. Like Teton is like, man, my shoulder's gonna be messed up. Um, we get a backcracker to Teton. Teton kicks out. Uh, we get a DDT, a drop kick, forearm exchanges. We get a Falcon Arrow on Taiji, but Taiji kicks out. And then finally, Taiji ends up doing the La Mystica into the Bone Lock. And then once Teton tries to get to the rope, Taiji is all like, nah, man, I'm gonna roll you back into the middle of the ring. And then Teton taps out, and that gives Taiji Ishimori 2 points in Best of the Super Juniors. But this match was like really off because of the chemistry and the pairing. Like I I I don't know, man. It's just one of those things of like Taiji really like slowed this down, really worked the body part, and then Teton does a lot of like lucha things and is like very fast, and I'm like, man, this one is like really dragging. But first, I want to say what's up, Rev. How you doing?
Not too bad, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm just here talking about New Japan and still
I
trying
see you
to.
know my other friend Reezy.
Yeah, Reezy's here. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How you doing, brother? Okay, maybe I should go.
Yeah, he was having trouble with coming onto the spaces, so I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I just I,
His.
I just want to say I enjoy your stuff there that I've seen been able to see on Twitch and shit.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, I haven't used Twitch in a while. I'm on Kick, only because of, man. I still feel guilty as I say this. I know that this is recorded, but I'm on it because like Kick does a 95-5 split,
Right.
so I'm like, you know, I gotta do what's best for me. Yeah, I feel so
Exactly.
guilty. I haven't come to terms with like what would I stay on.
Yeah.
Um, but I do like, as I have this recorded, I do appreciate everyone that has ever helped me out on my Twitch. It's just that I did find a community, of other wrestling fans that's part of Twitch. So like, I've been chatting with them, talking with them, building that up like slowly and stuff. And it's been kind of fun. And I don't get the same toxicity that I got, being
Yeah,
on
heard
Twitch
that.
and everyone else and stuff like that. So yeah, um, but yeah, I appreciate you watching some of my stuff from time to time. I'm always gonna appreciate it. Team Reezy, you still with us? You good?
I am back. Yeah, it
Yeah, really.
randomly booted me out.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
crazy. But
yeah, man.
yeah, I'm great. I'm great. One thing I do want to talk about now. Now,
Sure.
I the promo that Mike Bailey. We talked about this.
Yeah,
The
Three
he
ball. Yeah.
Yeah, he did it in full Japanese, and I thought that was really cool.
yeah,
That
yeah.
because I was very respectful to the fans. Cause yeah,
Yeah, man. When the Japanese fans in Kirk and Hall for opening night heard him speak Japanese, everyone was just like, oh, like a nice little awe for him. And then when he got backstage, that's when he did it again. It sounds very nice when he speaks it for some reason. Like it's really cool. It's really cool when wrestlers can do that.
yeah.
I know
Yeah.
how to speak French a little bit. That's about it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you can wow people with a little bit of French, I think you'll be okay.
Every woman I see, voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir?
Oh my god.
No, I haven't changed much. I haven't changed at all.
Yeah. It's all good, man. It's all good. You know that they're good vibes here.
Oh,
Um.
yeah.
All
Well,
right.
you I've known you a lot. I've known you longer than I know Reezy, so
Yeah. But you know me,
yeah.
I vibe with you, so it's all good. I mean, if you want to try that on somebody else, I don't know, but I'll be okay with that. With that line. All right. So let me continue this. We're up to Block B. We have Bushi versus El Desperado. And now I think I understand why I don't necessarily like. Well, I can't say I don't like. It's just that Bushi is a very weird wrestler to me. That like not all of his matches hit. He's very technically sound. He's really good, but not all the matches hit with me. And I'm like, oh my god, you gotta check out a Bushi match. And that's not like me trying to, bash him or anything. It's just that on commentary they pointed out that Bushi sticks to hold on. Okay, I was getting a feedback. On commentary, they wait, can I okay. That's what I want to do. All right. So on commentary, they basically mentioned that Bushi sticks to a game plan, and I think that's what it is. That even though he has a game plan, he sometimes doesn't switch it up sometimes, but in this match, he sort of like switched it up. Uh at the opening night, Yoshinobu worked on El Desperado's knee. So in this one, by circumstance and happenstance, Bushi was going after Despy's knee, even though he really didn't need to do that. Bushi, like I said, is and it clicks for me now, is the type of wrestler that stays to the game plan. But this time around, despite the opening sequence of like chain wrestling, shoulder blocks, drop kicks. Bushi was like, "Fuck all that! I'm gonna work on El Desperado's knee just because I can." And that's what he did. And Despy like fought through the pain of Bushi working on El Desperado's knee. El Desperado coming in with some chops, some strikes. Um, Desperado doing like a scoop slam to Bushi and a suplex. Desperado dodges some stuff during the match. His knee buckles as well. But even with all of that, Desperado reaches deep down inside and ends up doing uh, the Escalera pin to Bushi, and this is how Desperado is able to get out of like really high situations when it comes to, I should say, high stake situations where it comes to like really powerful impact moves. And then, like I said, a very simple pin. Any type of pin like can get the upset in any type of match. So like roll ups, any type of like cradle pin, and the drop toho are like your best friends in professional wrestling. So because Desperado was able to get out of that, and maintain his knee, Desperado ends up getting 2 points for his match. Um, whew, okay, but yeah, I'm glad that I finally figured out um why Bushi's wrestling doesn't really like click with me. Like his matches don't click with me. And I'm glad that like on commentary they were talking about it and TJP was talking about it that guys stick to a game plan, and I just realized that's what Bushi does half the time. Um Reezy, if you want to add anything onto that.
I don't got nothing to add to that, but as far as Bushi goes, uh I don't know too much about Bushi.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about Bushi. Bushi is a part of Naito's group, right?
Yeah, he's a part of LIJ.
Yeah, Lij. That's what I figured. Yeah, I don't know much about Bushi,
which
but
is fine.
I am a fan definitely.
He, he he's pretty good. It's just that it's Bushi. Desperado is a stubborn, damn good of a wrestler that like really pushes people to their best and really takes them to their limit. Like Desperado, like if you ever want to like study him, you should study him. Any matches that he had with like Hiromu, uh, Yoshinobu. Well, just their yesterday's match that was like really freaking good. But yeah, he's really good to study. All right, Block A match. We have Doki versus Hiromu. I did not know that this match was gonna happen, so I accidentally put the wrong name because I was listening to commentators and my brain was like, "Oh, put this one," and I was like, "Wait a minute, what?" I hear Hiromu's theme song, and okay. Um, so Doki it's a very interesting wrestler as well too. Doki has like really good matches, and I would some part of me is like I feel the same type of way when like I talk about Bushi. I feel like sometimes I don't do some of the Japanese wrestlers right, but I will say that Doki versus Hiromu was a very good match. Doki has these matches where he goes like I don't know why I want to use the phrase like balls to the wall in his matches where he always has these high impact moves and he's always able to get somebody in the submission that he calls the Doki Choki, and but he always comes up like second to last in like anything that he does. He's always the runner up, and they have not given him his flowers, so to speak. He's put in so much work. He has amazing matches. He takes you through a journey. This match was definitely a journey and like story and like everything. And then Hiromu, I just love Hiromu. Like hands down, Hiromu is the guy. I do feel like we always say this that wrestlers have like a target on their back once they like win the belt, but I think now it's come to a point where like in kayfabe, because I know outside the ring everyone respects Hiromu. But like in kayfabe, I think that Hiromu is getting the short end of the stick when it comes to the respect factor because he's champion once again. Um, Hiromu is the face of the Super Juniors. I have no problem with that. Hiromu is good in everything that he does, but I do think that Hiromu is even getting exhausted and tired for being that face, even though he loves it. But I want to see this guy like wrestle Sonata again for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship title. I want to see Hiromu go for the never open weight title. I want to see Hiromu go for maybe the 6-man or the tag. He can't. Oh, excuse me. He can't always just be the person to carry the junior division for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And with that being said, Doki started this off with like a baseball drop kick to Hiromu. He didn't even allow Hiromu to get into the ring, take off his ring jacket, and have a normal match when the bell rang. Doki was like, "Nah, fuck that, Hiromu. You ain't having no time to breathe." And Doki ends up doing a DDT to Hiromu, like two of them, then like a neck breaker, goes for a cover, but Hiromu kicks out. And then Doki does this like chin lock to Hiromu to basically like slow him down, hurt his neck. Because if you guys don't follow Hiromu's career, he did have like a neck injury that needed surgery. He also tore his pec muscle at 1.2, needed surgery. So wrestlers do end up attacking those type of injuries. We get a running dropkick by Doki. Oh no, we get a running dropkick from Hiromu by Doki. Doki kicks out of that. Hiromu tries very hard to get offense in, and he does. We get a beautiful Falcon Arrow, that kick combination, and this swinging suplex that Doki does. I've never seen like a swinging suplex. Doki was really pulling out like moves that I'm like, yo, you never really done this in your matches. But because it's like best of the Super Juniors, all these wrestlers pull out their best move sets during these tournaments. You may see these during like the road to stuff, but you're not really gonna see it as much. So that's why I appreciate when, wrestlers like Doki or like Bushi will pull out something where you're like, whoa, you guys never like really did that, and that has like my attention. Like if anybody goes back and watches this match, look out for that swinging like suplex move. That shit was amazing. However, Hiromu kicks out because Hiromu is, he's a good boy. He doesn't want to stay down and stuff. Hiromu does his other move, the dynamite plunger, but Doki is like, no. Then towards the end, we get to Hiromu doing, the time bomb on Doki. And the time bomb is Hiromu's finisher. And that is what ends the match to give Hiromu his 2 points for Best of the Super Juniors. That match was really fun to watch. It really felt like, like I said, Doki does all of this stuff in his career and the matches that I've watched, but they haven't really given him the opportunity to like shine, and sometimes I think it's a little bit difficult for me to really convey how good some of the Japanese wrestlers are, or convey, to the best of my ability, that if I don't know too much of a history of Japanese wrestlers, like I don't know too much about like Doki or Bushi, but I do enjoy the matches and the journey I've seen them on since talking about New Japan. I find it a little bit hard for me to convey to the best of my ability to convince people that, supporting New Japan is worth it, other than, the foreigners that go there and have a wonderful career. I try my very, very best to be like, this is what this wrestler does, that wrestler does. And that's why sometimes I switch focus now when I talk about wrestling matches, to be like, well, this is how the match felt. This is a different type of wrestler. This wrestler is becoming more serious than like the previous ones. To give people that sense of like, all right, there is an emotional connection. I want to make sure that there's at least some emotional connection in these matches where I'm like, yeah, this was really good, or this was really shocking, or this was a surprise, or this is the one time that the wrestler got cocky because they had the upper hand, and they never really do that, but it's a human trait that these characters and these wrestlers play in these matches. And I think it's best for me to like highlight some of that stuff to give you guys like an overall view of, this is the wrestler to watch, even if I don't know like much of their history. Okay, my throat's getting dry.
It's all good.
Yeah. That's like the one thing that I always hope is that I can convey, that certain matches have like a distinct story, and I could tell you a little bit of the story, and people get like, oh, that's cool. That match sounds pretty awesome. All right, we are actually up to the main event. It's not like last time where I was like, oh, are we? But yeah, we are. The main event had Block B, Master Wado versus Yo. I am happy that Master Wado is getting the main event treatment. I do want to touch on.
Ooh, I like that. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to
Oh
try
no,
to
you're
cut
good.
you off.
You're good. At first, I was like, "Why are you saying ooh for? Like, what happened?" But go ahead, man.
No, finish. You just said a name that I really like.
Oh, is it Master Wado or Yo?
Yo.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Yo. Listen, man. Okay, before we get into this match, because I know you saw it, right? Um, I think Yo is gonna turn heel, but be that like, but not be like a full heel, but be like a, I don't know, I don't want to call it an anti-hero, but do you feel vibes of like Yo turning?
I feel that all the time. I
Okay.
feel like Yo's gonna turn into Not necessarily heel, but more like a careless. Like I'm kind of in between good and bad. Like I
Yeah.
don't care. I'm gonna do what I want when I want to do it.
Yeah. Okay, good. Cause like I was watching it and I'm like, all right, yeah, you're definitely gonna turn, especially what like TJ was, analyzing and saying on commentary. And then, with Kevin Kelly there also mentioning how like, at first thought that, he didn't wanna do wrestling anymore after a certain point, but he came back and did it anyway. And then TJ mentioning how like it feels like it's like the fifth thing on like his passion list. And I'm like, yeah, I've always felt that. Like, I always felt that never really like put it as a priority as like most other wrestlers do. But I think now, because he's teaming with Leo Rush, there is a big fucking difference from a couple years ago to now. And I'm like, oh, this is really good. I'm gonna get, behind and watch his journey, watch his growth. Because if anybody saw this main event, like there is that careless heel that's gonna come out. So make sure that like you guys pay attention to this. Before I get into the match, there is something specific that I want to touch on because for the most part, TJP being on commentary, I was really agreeing with like the freaking assessments that this guy was like throwing out and stuff. And I agree with him about, Master Wato, and I want to like expand on it from like my experience watching him and stuff. So TJP, to the best of my paraphrasing ability, even though this might be like word for word. And by the way, whatever when TJP says this, he doesn't mean it from like a bad place. He really cares about the wrestlers and the people that he works with. So he mentioned on, and I'm quoting TJP, Master Wato could be the ace of the division, meaning the junior division. Master Wato has the talent, but doesn't know what to do with it. That is 100% accurate, and I totally agree with it. And I would definitely say that watching Master Wato from a young lion graduating and going on to be his own like thing, like now he sort of gets it. Like he gets what the Master Water is. It's basically like Master Water. That's why like he has like the blue hair, the blue pants. And he does have a lot of talent. And sometimes when you have that talent, it's hard to go in the direction that you want to go in because everyone gives different types of advice, and then you're wondering if like you should do this or do that. But I will say that watching his growth and seeing how well he progressed, Master Wado knows what he's doing, and there are times where he capitalizes on this talent that he has. And then the things that he don't capitalize on, it's fine because that could be in, a safe, locked away and needed until he grows again. Because, he has so much talent, you can't necessarily like, for example, if you try to make a diamond out of that talent, it's gonna fall apart and break because you can't keep squeezing it to make it the best and perfect version of whatever you need it to be just yet. That's why we all have like different growing stages. That's why we all had different journeys. That's why somebody may be further along than you are, but that doesn't mean that you should despair because of that. Like everybody grows up at a different rate. Everyone has a different way of thinking, and that's what Master Wado currently is in. He's in this bubble of he has all this talent, and yes, he could be the face of the division. Does that mean right now? No, but he's definitely a competitor that you could put his face on like the wall if it was named faces of the junior division, and his face to be there. He'll be in the conversations because this guy really took the time to invest in himself, invest in his ability, and he has put on some amazing matches where I'm like, yo, he is growing, he is learning, he grew pretty fast. But there are times where I'm like, yeah, he takes like a step back. But taking that step back doesn't necessarily mean like a very bad thing. I want the world for Master Wado because it's somebody different. There's a breath of fresh air when it comes to having more people in the junior division. And, as much as I love Hiromu too, I think that once Hiromu leaves the junior division and like goes to heavyweight, it's gonna be fine. And I say the junior division is gonna be fine because we have all these new juniors in there, and everyone is gonna give each other a run for their money. But going back to TJP's point, I totally agree with it, and I really do see that Master Wado has all this talent, and he does. You guys can see it if you guys pay attention to Master Wado's like career and stuff. But that does not mean that he's gonna get good and perfect overnight. So he can definitely go at his pace that he's going now, because by the end of it, oh man, he's gonna be a fucking diamond. And that's me putting over Master Wado because I don't know if anyone has. At first, I was just like, I don't know about this guy, but now I'm just like, yo, you have put in the work, you proved yourself, you have this talent, you take these I don't know, we have like a diamond. I guess he takes these nuggets and like they're really good to look back on and be like, yeah, you grew so much. All right, into this match. Um the crowd was definitely behind Master Wado. They start out with a test of strength, just to see who could get like the first advantage. There's a lot of counters. Um, Master Wado goes for his finisher very early, which I'm gonna fuck up the name. It's like either Vendamal, something like that. Like I remember saying it long ago on my podcast episodes, but I don't really get to talk about Master Wado like that, so I don't really remember the name. However, Yo is like, nah, you're not gonna hit me with your finisher, man. So he rolls out. Yo definitely spent some time on the outside, man, because there's no guardrails in this prefecture in Nagano that they were at. Yo was like, I'm gonna stand right outside, and that sort of plays a little bit into um manipulation is the wrong word, but like the psychology of the match. Because Yo is like, hey, you could come outside. Well, yeah, you can come outside and like, fight me, even though it's like, outside the ring, not like outside. Um, but yeah, that sort of messes with Master Wado to where Yo can definitely get the advantage, and that is what happens. There's this like cannonball off the top rope that Yo did to Master Wado, which everybody was surprised, even TJP and Kevin Kelly. A nice twisting neck breaker by Yo to Master Wado. And then really grounding and slowing down the match with a leg lock on Master Wado's head, some rope breaks. Um, Now we finally get Master Wado doing his other same finisher, the Vendamal on Yo, but Yo is like, nah, you know, more attempted pins and counters as if like these guys knew each other. They might have probably wrestled like before, but this one was like, yeah, let's see what we can do in this one to one each other up. Um, Yo then drops Master Wado on his knee, making sure that Master Wado's shoulder blades hits Yo's knee. But there is a kick out from that. Yo does this dragon screw that looked really painful on Master Wado because it was like an inverted dragon screw. And then we get the Poison Rana into a super kick, into a lariat to Master Wado, and that like weakens him and sets him up for a direct drive that Yo does. That's his finisher. And Yo pins Master Wado, and Yo gets the 2 points for Best of the Super Junior Night 2. And that is the main event of Best of the Super Juniors. Now, because I said that I was going to talk about the leaderboards and the updated leaderboards, which I do by hand because I am that crazy. Okay, so altogether, this is the accumulation for B block for nights 1 and nights 2, and then I'll do the one for block A. I want to make sure that you guys, yeah, I'm still being listened to because I'm not on the thing. Okay, so yeah, I'm still good. Okay. Um, so as follows for the total for both nights, El Desperado has 2, Yo has 2, Master Wado has 2, Kevin Knight has 0, Yoshinobu Kanemaru has 4, Bushi has 0, Robbie Eagles has 4, Francesco Akira has 2, Dan Maloney has 2, and Clark Connors has 2. That is only for Block B. For Block A, for the leaderboards, we are currently at, for both nights, Koshida at 0, Taguchi at 0, Leo Rush at 4, Doki at 2, Hiromu at 2, Teton at 2, TJP at 2, Taiji at 4, Sho at 0, and Mike Bailey at 4. Um, and of course, for the rest of the night, I will be doing the same thing. I will be talking about Best of the Super Juniors. It will be recorded. Anybody is welcome to come chat with me to give me their thoughts about the matches. And I guess after every 2 nights, I'll give updated leaderboards for it. Looking down towards the future of the rest of the week and how it's going to play out because I'll celebrate this a little bit later on in the day or like on Monday, not or tomorrow. But your girl is definitely the official commentator for Goddesses of War Wrestling event May 20th. If you guys have not purchased your tickets, please go do so at Titan-Championship wrestling.com and like scroll through the website and like buy some tickets. It's gonna be over in New Jersey. It's a double header. So like Goddesses of War is first, and then we have Titan Championship Wrestling. And I can't say enough about this promotion. Like I really do love this promotion, and I hope that if wrestlers listen to the end of this, that you guys go and try to work something out, and hopefully I'll see you at an event because I really do like appreciate both of these things. But I just want to say that it's like a dream and a goal come true to be a commentator and to have that much trust on me. This will be my first ever commentary gig for Goddesses of War, or like any commentary gig at all. I have a playlist on YouTube of me practicing commentating, but I haven't updated that yet. But just the fact that um I'm given the opportunity, I really fucking love it. I haven't really made like too much of a like an official announcement or whatever it is. I am really bad about it just because I'm like, I don't know who's gonna celebrate with me, and that's just me being honest. Like I just, I tell my immediate circle that it's like, yo, these are the things that are fucking happening, and I just love professional wrestling through and through, and just want to see everyone succeed, and want to even see all of my wrestling friends succeed, and every one of my wrestling friends are doing fantastic. If anybody out there ever says that the indies are dying, the indies are not fucking dying. The indies are surviving and they're thriving. Just because we don't get enough coverage on Twitter with the whole fucking stupid algorithm shit doesn't mean that like they're not thriving. If you're not talking to the right people, then you're obviously going to think that it's not thriving, it's not surviving. But I can honestly tell you that like the indies are doing well, mainstream wrestling is doing well, New Japan Pro Wrestling is doing well, like everyone is doing well. And yeah, not to like just bury myself, or not even bury myself, but I'm super excited. I hope to see you guys May 20th, as I will be an official commentator on Goddesses of War Wrestling. And of course, Goddesses of War Wrestling is an all women's promotion. I do have a vlog about me going over there which I might just end up putting for free on my newsletter, which you guys should be signed up to my newsletter, marieshadows.substack.com. That is an extension of this podcast. That is an extension of everything else that I do. If something doesn't get covered either here on the Twitter Spaces or on a live stream, it will be on there. Like wrestling news, I don't really cover it, but I'm very picky about wrestling news, and all wrestling news is free. Like I don't believe in putting wrestling news behind a paywall when you could Google that shit. And then I think that, if it is behind a paywall, it goes through a telephone system and everyone gets that misinformation, and then it can never be traced back to the actual people that like it started from. Like, there's not really much accountability there. So me personally, I believe that wrestling news should just be free. And that's what you'll find on my newsletter is that anything that has to be paid for will be like interviews. By the way, I just finished up my Ray Jazz interview. If you guys don't know, Ray Jazz is part of MLW and he's part of the FBI, but not that FBI, the full bloody Italians. And I had a wonderful fucking talk with him. And it's gonna go up today right after I'm done with this. But had a wonderful talk. It's very motivational. So if you guys are looking for any type of motivational like starter or anything like that, if you're feeling down or burnt out, like come listen to the interview later, and hopefully some of the stuff that like we talk about helps you, because I've been like really thinking back about our conversation about the shit that we were talking about when it comes to like motivation and lessons, life lessons, and like how to plan out your goals from long term to short term, and just the shit that like Ray Jazz does like on the outside of like wrestling. He's a fantastic talker too, so I had a lot of fun with him. Not like that interviewing, but I hope that you guys find some type of enjoyment from this interview. But yeah, uh, I'm just gonna pause for the moment.
Nah, you're good. I enjoyed it. I enjoy watching all of Japan's, events that they have going on. Super Juniors has been pretty good. I'm really rooting for Mike Bailey to win. I think he's been the most watchable out of everybody, in my
uh,
opinion.
uh,
At least for me,
yeah,
the
yeah.
most watchable. And I would love to see Mike Bailey win. But other than that, I've enjoyed Super Juniors. Everything's has been going. I've been right on the wins. I've been predicting pretty good on this one. I think the only one I got wrong was the Leo Rush.
Ah, okay. Usually sometimes when I try to do predictions for New Japan is always like, "No, fuck you, Marie. All your predictions are wrong." And I've had that on like several occasions, and I'm like, "Ah, fuck this. I'm just gonna enjoy. I'm not gonna give predictions anymore. Like, I don't even tell you guys like who I'm going for in this competition, because I'm just like, nah, man, because New Japan is gonna be like, nah, fuck you. You think that you could get your prediction right? No. So I'm just like, no, I'm so hurt. um, but I think like you and like maybe some other people are like on the Mike Bailey, like he's probably gonna win it. However, I will say this though. In the event that Mike Bailey does not win Best of the Super Juniors because he defeated Hiromu, he does get the opportunity to face Hiromu for that belt if Hiromu continues to be champion. So there is a possibility of that.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
Mike Bailey, Junior Champ. That would be pretty cool.
yeah. So I'm just letting everybody out there know that sometimes when a wrestler defeats a champion, there is like that weird. It's not really weird, but like it's not like America in a way where like people go for a challenge for a belt, and then even if they beat the person, they never get that opportunity. But in Japan, they make sure that because you defeated a champion, right? You're allowed to get that opportunity. It's given to you. So they're very big on like keeping honor.
Japan. See, wrestling. I said before, many times, people, wrestling in Japan and wrestling in America are two different monsters.
Yes.
The Japanese fans has a lot more respect than American fans. I would like to say they have a lot more respect for the wrestlers and the business more, and they
Yeah.
actually treat their promotions like sports. They have tournaments. They You actually earn the opportunity instead of where in America a person could just show up and just get a title shot and not
Yeah.
even had a match. You could just show up and get a title shot. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Because sometimes like when you just scroll through Twitter, some of the takes on wrestling versus like American wrestling and Japanese wrestling, you're like, man, I wish that they'll tune into something like this and just learn a little bit more and like respect it a little bit more. That's like, again, one of my other like overall goals is to make sure that like wrestling is left better than like it was yesterday. Like I remember using that tagline some years ago about like I want to make sure that when I talk about wrestling, when I elevate wrestling and wrestlers, it's better than what it was yesterday. Um than not, because then what's the point of having a podcast if all you're gonna do is like shit on things for like no reason and not give any type of idea. Like, not every idea is going to be golden, but at least if you can articulate like why you don't like something or why something was off, then like it'll be a better listen, so to speak. And then people could be like, oh, well, then what do you think about this? Because I felt it was off too. Like, did you feel like it was off? Like when I asked you the question about Yo, like, do you think that Yo is going to turn heel? And you sort of confirmed like in a better way because I couldn't explain it, but you were like, yeah, I think he's gonna be like a careless heel. And I was like, yes, I put two and two together. Like that makes the most sense for him to do that. So that's the type of conversation that I like to always try to get with people to be like, okay, he said it better than me. That's exactly what I was thinking. I couldn't word it. But yeah, I try to push that to be like, make sure that you're at least talking about like how you view things, your opinions, and your world view, because you never know when like you might have a common ground with like somebody else, if any of that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
Cool, 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 cool. But yeah, I'm just thinking back to that. I am happy that you mentioned a careless heel, because I really don't think in wrestling we've had like careless heels, so to speak.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm really trying to think. Like, I don't really think we had that type of character.
I don't think we do. Which is we're going back to Yo, which I think Yo is gonna become more of a
Yeah,
careless. You don't know what he's gonna do next.
yeah, because his attire has also changed too. Because ever
It's
since
more
like
street. It's more street.
yeah, it's definitely now it's more street with the whole denim and stuff. But previous to him wearing the denim clothing, when him and Show broke up, because I don't know if you're too familiar with like Show and Yo being like with Pungi 3K and like Rocky was with them. So like when they broke up officially, Yo was still trying to find himself. So Yo will wear these like oversized like white hoodies or like black hoodies and like black shorts or white shorts, like very just clean canvas type of thing. He was trying to find himself. Now he's wearing more like denim stuff, and I'm like, yo, now you're trying to get like a personality here. Like he has the dyed black hair, the denim with the personality, and I'm like, dude, you have come a long way. Like I think I think that I am still thankful that Leo Rush came around and Leo was like, I'm gonna teach you some stuff, yo. you know?
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of great because he fits great with Leo.
Yeah.
And if that's the heel turn they're talking about doing, that'll be perfect. That'll be perfect for both of them. Because I'm not for sure if Leo is a heel or a face right now, but I think he's a face. But I think both of them as a heel tag team, I think Leo could actually help Yo a lot too. And Yo
Yeah.
could help Leo. Yo's over in Japan. But Yo
Yeah.
can help Leo get over more in Japan. And Leo can help Yo with his heel gimmick, because Leo's a great heel. He can help Leo with his being a heel and how to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Promos and stuff, and also help him get over Mick. So they can help each other. And it seems like with their chemistry, they both get it. I would like to think they both get along well. They
They
seem like
do.
they work great together. Because
Man,
I mean, if they didn't like each other, I wouldn't think Japan would keep them with each other.
yeah, definitely. Gato would be like, this was a bad idea.
Right.
um, but let me see. I'm trying to remember. It should have been like Rumble on 44th Street, when they were over here in New York City, which I didn't get the chance to go. But that pay-per-view that New Japan Strong had, that's when Leo came over to like debut and stuff, and he was Yo's tag partner. And even then I was like, yo, there is this weird chemistry between them, and like you don't get that chemistry in the first night when you like tag with somebody and you never tag with them. So from there, I was like, yeah, they're gonna be a very good tag team.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, so like, man, which it was a nice, yeah, I think they did like a tag team during that time. But yeah, I mean that's everything for me. I'm gonna wrap it up. You
All
know,
right.
uh,
Like I said, it's always nice talking with you. You're awesome.
Same, man. I was gonna tell you again that I appreciate you being here and listening to me and having a wonderful conversation with me.
Anytime. I'm always open for it.
Of course, man. All right, thank you.
You have a
Uh,
good one.
you too. All right, guys. With that, I'm gonna wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoy this second part of the recording because the first one got messed up, so I had to like do another one. So if you did not hear the first 19 minutes, go back and do that. As always, it's always a great pleasure to talk about wrestling and New Japan as well. I did mention in the previous one that I'm gonna try for the whole entire time of Best of the Super Juniors to continue to do this, to just recap it, talk about it, because I do want people to hear my podcasting style and see what I have to offer and know that I want wrestling better than it was yesterday, rather than like all the bad faith takes that you see on Twitter and or podcasting, and that might put a target on my back, but it's okay. Like, I'm not new to that, but that's just how I feel. Like, I don't want to be grouped into a category of podcasters where everyone thinks we're all the same, and then opportunities don't come because they're like, oh, you're a podcaster, oh, you're this, you're that. Like, no, I'm here to try to help out wrestling and give its credit and like give back to the community and help out everyone and anyone in any shape, way, or form, uh to the best of my ability. So I'm going to continue to do this and also try to live stream as well. I don't know how everything is going to work, but just come along with me for the ride. I will reiterate again that May 20th, I am not sure what's going to be happening in terms of like this Twitter space and like talking about New Japan, because your girl is going to be on commentary for Goddesses of War Wrestling. So I have no idea what the fuck is going to happen. I do know
I'm
that.
excited for you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, I'm cheesing on this end, dude. I have like the biggest fucking smile. Um, when I saw like the other flyer that's been going around, I was like, that's me. That's me on the flyer. Oh my god. Okay. But yeah, so we'll play it by ear on the 20th. I just I just love talking about wrestling. So if you guys are not following me, make sure to follow me on, Twitter right here at Marie_Shadows. If you are not signed up to my wrestling newsletter, marieshadows.substack.com, please go do so. Eventually, I'll get around to dropping my Discord link because I keep saying it. I don't fucking do it. Make sure to follow me on kick.com/Marie Shadows. And by the way, you do get a very unfiltered, unapologetic Marie Shadows. Don't think like that most of this is a character. Maybe like 5% of it is a character, but I do come with honesty, respect, and basically wanting to see everybody grow. So that's what I come with. Oh yeah, and if you haven't got my wrestling planner, please make sure to do so. Amazon.com/author/Marie Shadows. And that does it from me. Thank you guys for listening. You have been listening to an episode of the Square Circle Podcast. I'm your host, Marie Shadows, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Awesome. Have a good one.